Hi, friends. This episode, we are going to talk about the weather and how it can affect our grief. So, the reason I wanted to record this podcast is because today is April 25th when I'm recording, and every year, I don't know if you guys have seen Miss Congeniality, but I love that movie. It's so hilarious. I think it was from the 2000s, early 2000s, probably. And it's so funny. It's about a beauty pageant, and there's this ditzy girl, and when they're doing the interviews for the pageant, the host guy says, "Describe your perfect date." And she answers with April 25th, because it's not too hot and it's not too cold. All you need is a light jacket. And I just like, for one, it's hilarious. Like, it's so clever. Like, props to the writers of the movie. But every year on April 25th on Facebook, I always see that kind of movie picture or like meme or quote somewhere. And typically, where I live in North Dakota. And so typically, April 25th is not the perfect date. It is usually still storming or it's trying to melt and there's still snow. So it's really like icy or yucky. It's not. So I always laugh because I'm like, that's not the perfect date. Like, but anyway, this today is April 25th when I'm recording this. And so, of course, this comes out at a later date, which not too much later, but it really is a very beautiful day today. It is in the mid 60s. There's no wind. The sun is shining. And for April 25th in North Dakota, this is a beautiful, rare occurrence. And so it just really got me thinking today has been like a really good day. I have more energy. I feel good. I'm making healthier choices with my food. And the weather really does affect our mood and it really affects our grief. And so I wanted to just do a podcast episode on this because I find myself so often forgetting. And then when a good, warm, sunny day comes around, I'm like, oh, I just needed some sunshine. I just needed some vitamin D. And obviously, that doesn't take away all of the pain, all of the hurt from missing our loved one, but it really does make a difference. And every year I forget this. I forget this in the wintertime, how dark the world feels. And especially for me, like my mom died in December, and it just can get really depressing. And so I wanted to talk about a few things that we can do because I am not a big one for medicine. Again, that being said, I really do agree with medicine. If you need it for depression, anxiety, like 100% go for it. But I'm not one to just run out and be like, oh, prescribe me something. Like I try to take care of it myself first, and maybe that's just the nurse in me. I don't know. I try to not go to the doctor. I don't like the amount of money it costs, the time. It just, it's a hassle for me. So I don't want to do it. Okay. So that if you like to run to the doctor for everything, props to you. Like, good on you. I am not that person. So I try to find ways that will benefit me, but are simple that I can do that don't take a lot of time, but really make a difference. And so some of them are just simple ones of trying to go to bed earlier, drink water. I know we all hear try to get some movement in, some steps. And I'm going to be honest, like in the middle of winter, that is extremely hard for me. The weather is horrendous around here. I live in the middle of nowhere. So we are stormed in a lot of times and or the roads are not good. I don't want to go drive to the gym. I don't I don't really take advantage of it so because it is a little farther away and so I don't pay for a membership to a gym and so it is something that again for me is not simple and easy. It is a big thing. And so if you are near a gym and that's how you get your steps in, that's again good. But for most of the time, I even think of like taking a walk outside, but when it's -50 out, I do not want to be outside. And I know that people say there's no cold weather or bad weather. It's just you are not prepared for it in your clothing or something like that. But I don't want to bundle up in my coveralls, in tons of sweatshirts, and then a coat, and then a scarf and a hat where just my eyes are poking through. And so I know that about myself. I don't want to do that. It's a lot of work, and I choose not to. And so, little ways that you can get movement still are I do like to do some exercise videos or even just trying to get water in for the day. Another one is dance parties. I like those because it's something I can do with my kids. They think I'm being goofy, or even just having music playing, like can be uplift if it's uplifting music. And of course, like in this day and age, you can create your own Spotify playlist, or whatever kind of app you listen to on. You can have like uplifting music for days where you are feeling more down in the dumps. And so those are just little simple things that you can do. Another thing is praying. So I find often that when I get in kind of these funks, it's often because I have stopped my daily prayer routine or I have switched it up. So for me, I like to listen to the rosary when I'm in the shower. And I listen to it's the Amen app. I like to it's like a daily meditation on the rosary and they have like reflections and very good information. And so I like to listen to that because for me, like when I'm in the shower, if I don't have the rosary playing, right? Because of course I could jump in and be like, you should pray the rosary when you're completely focused so you can fully meditate on the rosary. Yes, I agree with that. However, for me, it is a good thing because for one, I do get the rosary in. I find myself being able to focus on it more because that's all I'm doing, right? Like showering is a very patterned thing. You do the same routine every day. At least I think most people do. And so it is a very thoughtless thing that I do. And so I can focus on the rosary. When I'm not having the rosary playing in the background, in the shower is one of the worst places for my mind to start spiraling. And I have noticed this about myself. And so, especially when it is around a death anniversary, one of my parents' birthdays, or my kids' birthdays, and I don't have the rosary going, and I start to focus on very negative things. And once again, our brain likes to focus on negative things. And once it does, it's like we put on these goggles that are just everything's negative, everything's gloom and doom, we're failing at everything. And it's hard to get out of that. And then, especially when you pile it with it's in winter, everything feels dark and heavy, compared with it's around a death anniversary or day that is harder to begin with. Like my mind just starts spiraling and it's hard for me to get out of it. So I like to pray, play the rosary and pray it while I'm in the shower. And I also have found Lectio Divina to be very life-giving. It helps me focus on the word of God, something other than myself, and meditate on that and get out of that. And it helps me hear God's voice. It helps me quiet my mind. So that's also something. And again, this is, if you can't tell, I have switched back to being very vocal about my faith. So these are some Catholic words maybe that people have never heard before. So I just encourage you to look them up and find out more about them. A couple other things that I saw was or kind of thought about that you could do like a prayer group at your church or something to get yourself in more of a schedule or routine. I have a client that likes to go, she has some meetings every week with her church group, and there's like a prayer group, and that helps her have something to focus on and kind of break up the days a little bit. So that's a good one as well. Um, Also, again, things that I have found helpful, and when I stop the habit, I do notice a difference, is like journaling or writing things, especially when I'm coaching myself through things, or if I have a coach at the current moment where I have somebody to talk through and get coached on things, that really helps me get outside of my kind of everything's life is a failure, pity party, gloom and doom, especially in the winter. Like I said, this is more about seasons and the weather. And little things too that can help you bring joy. Like I know last year I was helping some people in the community with projects and painting. I love painting, and there's people in the community that can't paint anymore or it's too hard for them. So I was doing that. I was helping my husband's grandma. She had broke her back, and so she was needing help with things. And so finding something to give back, right? Like helps you focus on somebody other than yourself. Um, and then also there's the devotions we can have to the saints. Um, but also journaling. I want to backtrack a little bit to the journaling, and journaling can give us a way where we can look at our thoughts and what we're going through a little bit differently, right? Like this narrative just plays in our mind all the time. So we think that that is truth. We think that that's real. And when we write them down, we can look a little bit and be like, oh, like I'm thinking that my husband hates me because he didn't do the dishes for a week. Like, okay, maybe that's a little unreasonable. Maybe I do have good reason to believe it. So why, right? Like to just question a little bit and to reflect and look back. And we really do have a hard time looking at what we're going through in a neutral way. Like we cannot see how to get out of our own struggle. And so again, that is where coaching comes is so beneficial. So beneficial. It is helpful to talk to a friend, but coaches are trained differently, counselors are trained differently, therapists are trained differently to look at it in a different light, where your friend is gonna, of course, probably take your side, which is fine and good, but it ultimately kind of keeps you in the same pattern. So again, with coaching, it gives you something different, right? If you're like, I am sick of feeling this way, I want something different. That is what the beauty of coaching will help you with. But also, some of the saints who have gone through like depression, or I want to say more depressional things like spiritual, like Dark Night of the Soul, right? Mother Teresa is one for sure. Saint Therese of Lisieux struggled with spiritual dryness. Like her diary is a good one to read. Saint John of the Cross, right? He went through Dark Night of the Soul, and I think that was where I think Mother Teresa looked at his writings a lot on that, I believe. Don't quote me on that. Saint Dymphina, I think I'm pronouncing that completely wrong. I think she was Saint Teresa's sister, but she is a patron. No, just kidding. That is a different one. She's not a saint yet, I don't think. But Saint Dymphina is the patron saint of mental and emotional health. There is Saint Teresa's sister. I think she's a blessed. Maybe I'm getting my saints page mixed up. But anyway, you can ask them for intercession, right? Because they went through hardships as well. Um, also, to remember and to reflect on, I think a lot of times too, as Catholics especially, right? We can think that us being sad and grieving is a failure of our faith. And that is not true. Grief is part of the human experience. Jesus grieved, right? When Lazarus died and he went and Mary and Martha were like, Jesus, where he wouldn't have died. Like Jesus wept, right? Like grief is part of the human experience. And so we so often correlate grief with I'm failing, I'm not trusting enough, I shouldn't feel this way, especially if I trusted in God, right? Like, and that's not true. We should still have grief. It is an emotion that we are gifted with that again at times does not feel like a gift, but it is definitely not a failure of faith. And then there is this quote that I'm sure we all have heard, right? It's from Matthew chapter 11, verse 28. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest, right? So Jesus wants us to come to him in our heaviness, our grief, in our sadness. And sometimes when the seasons are changing or we've been in winter for a long time, we can forget that that's part of it. And especially as the seasons are starting to change, I know especially early on, like after my parents died, every time the seasons changed, I would get in such a funk. I and I didn't put it together probably for the first couple years, and then it's like, oh, like every time there's a change, it just reminds you that they're not there. That this is one more season of life that I'm going through, that my parents are not here. And and that's okay to feel that, right? Like that loss that we've experienced. And but to also recognize that a lot of times with the seasons, like it affects our mood as well. And so it can also be like I said, it is winter so much here. So much that a lot of times too, it's just like, I just need some vitamin D. I need some sunshine. I need to get outside and breathe the fresh air. I need some water. I heard that one time one of my coaching friends said she saw a meme and she's like, oh, we're like plants. We just need sunshine and water every once in a while. And I realized like the world felt like it was falling apart, but I just realized I need to get outside and get some sunshine and water in me. And now I'm better. So next time you're feeling that way, again, if it's rainy or dreary, right? Like springtime can be that way. Wintertime can be very long and dark and miserable. Try in some way to get some movement, get some water, get some rest, and just lean into the Lord more in those times, right? Because I can't physically make the sunshine come out, but Jesus can. And also, there are ways that in my life, like I can't literally have the sun come out, but I can have sunshine in my life different ways, right? By doing a dance party with my kids, or doing some prayer, or focusing on somebody else in need that I can help, or all those little ways that crafting. I like to do crafts. Find little ways that you are getting sunshine in your life. So that's it for today. I hope that you all have a very, oh, happy Easter. We're still in the Easter octave, at least when I'm recording this. So happy Easter season. And also, I am starting my next grief group on May 9th. And so you can go to catholicgriefcoach.com to sign up for that. I'm really excited about that. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. We're just going to have some awesome conversation and some beautiful reflection and taking wisdom from the saints who have gone before us. So I am praying for you guys, and I hope you have the very best possible day that you can. God bless.